Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Keisha and you're watching Sewist Creations, and on my channel I'm sharing my sewing journey with you all, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So if that is some content that you are wanting to watch, stick around. Yes, so if this is some content that you want to see more often, make sure you hit the like button, the thumbs up, make sure you subscribe. That way you're able to capture all of my content as I'm sharing with you all what I am learning and doing on my journey. All right, so so I'm trying to think where I want to start. So as you all know, I was working on the tank top. So the tank top is complete. I got all of this done in literally like one night. I did all of the fabric cutting. Well, no, I cut the fabric a few nights ago, but I did all of the construction and this pattern review so that I could get this content out to you all and share what I did. So as you know, or for those of you who might be new to my channel and don't know, I am working on this simplicity pattern here, which is the 2 or 3 piece cardigan set. It is $98.57. It's an easy to sew pattern from Simplicity. It has been sewn by many people in the sewing community, and now I am going to take my time and my turn to get this sewn up. However, this review is not on the pattern here in of itself. I'm actually going to do a review on an alternative piece that I made to the bralette. So while I like the entire pattern, I do love the bralette too. I'm just not ready to make and wear a bralette the way she's wearing this under, you know, her outfit. So what I did as an alternative is this tank top that you see here, and I'm going to share with you all what I did to make that tank top. So I have been on the search for a little bit for a cami pattern or a nice and simple tank top pattern. And while I was going to do the Mimi G pattern from her I think it's called Made to Wear book, when I pulled it out and printed off the pattern pieces, it is a PDF, I realized that it was really designed for wovens because it's a bias cut, I think, tank top. And I did not want to start making different plans and my fabric choices and things like that to get this garment or this set made. So I put her to the side for a little bit and went to find another tank top, and I decided I was going to sew the Anastasia knit tank top. So it's the Anastasia knit tank top, and I have my notes here, guys, so I cannot forget any detail about making this. And she has a sew along on her YouTube channel that was released in 2023, and it's simply a knit tank top. There's nothing, you know, special about the name of the garment. It does come in a PDF format, and it is very size inclusive. It is a size X small, extra small, to a size 6X. It does recommend your knits such as your rib knits or your sweater knits, and it requires 60-inch wide fabric and 3/4 yards. There are no notions, which is always a plus for a pattern, right? And the number of pattern pieces are, there's 1 cut on the fold that you have to cut twice, and it does include 6 pieces of paper to create your pattern, you know, to cut out and to cut your fabric. You use 6 pieces of paper to create your PDF. And actually I have it to the side here. I'll show it to you in a second. So this here is the PDF pattern, okay? So 6 pieces of paper to create the pattern itself, to create the garment. All right, so my experience with this garment, I already told you all that I chose to do this cami in lieu of the bralette because I just didn't want to make a bralette to wear. I probably wouldn't wear it the way she's wearing it, so I just decided to omit it. So I did the tank and I did a size 2X, which would have been a measurement for a bust of 45 and a half. I did not make many adjustments at all. I only did one thing, and that was I secured the shoulder seams with some hem tape because I know with knits sometimes they tend to stretch over time, and I didn't want that to happen. So I was trying to find a nice ribbon in my stash, but I didn't have one, so I just used this hem tape to secure or to stabilize my shoulder seams. But that is the only thing I did that was different from the instruction mostly. And of course I traced my pattern pieces because I wanted to make sure I preserve the integrity of the PDF. This is the traced pattern pieces here, or the pattern piece here. Only one. Cut on the fold and you cut twice. Oh, it's backwards, but yeah, here we go. So that is the traced pattern piece. All right, so let's get into the fit and comfort for me. The 2X was really great in terms of the sizing. It was somewhat fitted, and I was hoping to get a little bit more of a looser fit. And I think that's only because I'm used to wearing, you know, tank tops that are loose fitting and kind of, you know, roomy. But, you know, I do like the fitted look of the tank top, and you guys will see later. I'll show you some pictures of it with me wearing it. But that was the only thing I thought in terms of the fit and comfort, was that it fit me a little bit more snug than what I had envisioned. But it's definitely wearable, and there's no complaint about that at all. Okay, so my fabric choice was a lightweight sweater knit that came in a bundle. I think the bundle was 2 yards, and I got 3 bundles, so I had 6 yards total, and I decided to use that 6 yard yardage to make both the tank top and to do the pants and the cami. But it's this fabric here. This is just a scrap of what I had left over. um really stretchy, as you can see. So yeah, I went ahead and used that, and I honestly recommend, honestly, any kind of knit will work with this pattern. I just would suggest that you make sure with the sizing of the pattern itself, with the garment, or the size that you cut out, make sure that you factor in the stretch of your knit, right? So if I did something a little bit more stable, I probably would go up a size, but because this is so stretchy, the 2X did really well by me. All right, so let's get into the instructions and difficulty about this pattern. Honestly, guys, there was really nothing really difficult about this. I mean, there were no written instructions, but you really don't need them because the video tutorial that Anastasia provides on her channel is very well put together, very straightforward. In fact, she has a tutorial for both the lined tank top and the unlined tank top. I did not watch the one for the lined tank top, but I would imagine if I go back and decide to do this one again and just need a little bit of guidance on making the lined version, it would be really straightforward. But it was really straightforward, nothing complicated about it. For me, I did have a little bit of a issue, but I mean, it happens, right? So because this fabric is so thin, I did experience a little bit of slippage of the fabric when I was sewing, where at times I kind of lost sight of the 3/8 inch seam allowance. So what I did was just use my the far right side of my presser foot as my guide to keep the edge of the fabric lined up with that, just to make sure that my seams were straight. And somehow, I don't know how I did this, definitely user error. So it requires a 3/8 inch seam allowance all the way around. When I did my shoulder seams, I actually drew a line to make sure that I followed the 3/8 inch seam allowance. I used my washable Crayola marker and just kind of did with my seam gauge, did the measurement for 3/8. Why did I not sew the 3/8 when I got to my machine? I don't know. I totally was like, forget 3/8. I'm just gonna start sewing. So I didn't sew the 3/8 inch seam allowance for the shoulders. So that might attribute to one of the things I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, other than just like me having a little bit of a user error, nothing difficult or complicated. I would also say that I keep forgetting about my labels, and I remembered to put my label in this time, but clearly your friend needs to do a better job at sewing on her labels, because I don't like that. I do not like that at all. So see that stitch line going all the way across? Yeah, so that's not cute. I put it on because I wanted to make sure that I remembered to use my label. So what I probably should have done was just done a stitch line top to bottom on both sides, top to bottom, and just left this kind of open. But and I wasn't about to go and try to pick that out. It's not that serious. But yeah. All right, so now we are going to get into the pros and cons of creating this garment, this easy peasy tank top. It was a very easy construction. Again, Anastasia sew along is great. The 6 PDF pattern piece was also a plus. I know a lot of folks don't like to think about taping and cutting PDF patterns, but I mean, 6 pieces of paper, a simple cut here and there, taping, not a problem at all. I thought that was really great. And best of all too, this pattern does not have any notches to match. I mean, if you think about it, guys, you really need to have a notch to match up the seams or the corners of this tank top? And I would say no. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? You match your top here, your bottom here, your top here, bottom here, top. Put your pins in, put your pin at the bottom, pin at the top, pin in the middle, and then pin in between, and you're good to go. So I really don't know that there's really a need for, notches in this pattern. But again, really, really great for a beginner. So the total time and skill level to work on this for me was about 1.5 hours. And I don't know if I should say 2. No, I would say 1.5 hours, maybe 1.5 hours to 45 minutes. And I would only say that's because you all know, and if you don't know, I sew very slowly. I take my time with alignment and things like that, although I had that little issue with the seam allowance here. But I think for me, the most time-consuming part, and what might be the most time-consuming part for others, is the pinning. Using your pins to pin a lightweight fabric. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but other than that, I think this is a really easy sew and did not take much at all. And again, this is really good for beginners because it's a great pattern that you could start right from your home. If you have a printer and paper, and you have that yard or 3/4 yards of fabric and your thread and your needle, you are good to go. This is the perfect pattern to get you started. It doesn't include any kind of difficult technique or anything like that. It's really, really straightforward. And again, you would have to have your 70-10 needle, or a needle, based off whatever weight of fabric you are using. Okay, so here is the big question, and I'm sure you guys already know the answer. Try to guess. Would I do this again? Absolutely, absolutely. It was so straightforward. The only thing I would do different for myself, and this is not that you have to do it, it's just my preference, is I would add 2 to 3 inches to the bottom because as you'll see, it looks a little short on me. It feels short on me. It doesn't look bad, but it's almost giving like cropped. If I did a bigger hem on the bottom, it would definitely be giving like a cropped look that I didn't want. So I would probably add 2 or 3 more inches to the bottom. And I actually thought about, when I was working through this or thinking about working on this, was adding like a band around the top and around the arms and around the bottom. So if I do this again, or when I do it again, I probably will consider adding a band around the top and the arm here and the bottom. It just really depends on how quickly I want to get the tank top done. And there was a video that I watched. I think the person's name is Lifting Pins and Needles, that actually spoke exactly to what I was looking for in terms of wanting to add bands to this knit. And you know, I probably could have done it, but I just decided not to. I wanted to get this finished so I can start to work on the actual simplicity pattern itself. So yes, that would be the only 2 things I would do different. Maybe is definitely adding the 2 to 3 inches, and depending on how quickly I wanted to get another tank top done, I may or may not add the bands around the arm and the bottoms and the neckline. All right, so I have walked you all through this pattern review. I definitely recommend you all, consider pulling it up and getting it, made. If you are a beginner, for sure. If you are looking to just have a really quick like palette cleanse, it's a good pattern. It's a really good pattern. So now I'm going to show you all my finished look with this tank top.